met a fellow that I haven't seen in 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. He said he hasn't heard me in 20 years, and I wasn't worth listening to back then. But welcome, hi. Mutual friends. Get on the edge of my seat. Train songs. Something about the psyche of trains and the mystique of the train got into the soul of Americans. Took Amtrak to eradicate it. I've been riding Amtrak a lot, and it's unique. Got on a train the other day, and the train started, and we stopped. I asked the conductor, "What's the trouble?" He said, "There's cows on the track." I asked, then we started again, stopped again. He said, "Yep, those cows caught up to us." They had to put a cow catcher on the caboose to keep the things from boarding the train and trampling passengers. A good friend of mine, a hobo, decided to commit suicide one day, lay down on the Amtrak line and starve to death. Well, come all you rounders if you want to hear a story about a brave engineer. Casey Jones was the rounder's name. On the 8-wheel driver he rode to fame. He rode to fame, he rode to fame. On the 8-wheel driver he rode to fame. Well, the farmer told Casey, "Casey, you had better jump. There's 2 locomotives and they're bound to bump." Casey said, "No, I'm gonna stick and ride. I got me a home on the other side. On the other side, on the other side. I got me a home on the other side." Well, this is a true story of sorts. Casey Jones, his real name was John Luther Jones. Came from a town in Kentucky called Casey. Got his nickname that way. 1900, he was an engineer on the Illinois Central Railroad. His engine smashed into another one. That secured his fame, you might say. Well, Casey said before he died, "2 more drinks I'd like to ride. 2 more drinks I'd like to try." Fireman said, "What can they be? A cold drink of water and a hot iced tea." It's a hot iced tea, hot iced tea. Cold drink of water and a hot iced tea. When Mrs. Casey heard that her husband was dead, she went right home, she re-ragged in red. Told the little children, "Stop your crying. Oh, you got another papa on the Salt Lake line. The Salt Lake line, out there in Utah, got another papa on the Salt Lake line." Carpenter in Utah is what he was, sort of a Mormon nailer, you might say. Very literary. Know what they call a postman in the north of France? A Norman mailer, of course. You had to be there. Oh, it was Sunday morning. It looked like rain. Around the curve come a passenger train. The man at the throttle, he was Casey Jones. He's a good old rounder, but he's dead and gone. He's a good old rounder, but he's dead and gone. Well, old Jay Gould said before he died, "Fix the blinds so the bums can't ride. If ride they must, let them ride the rods. Let them place their trust in the hands of God. The hands of God, oh the hands of God. Place their trust in the hands of God." Well, it is going to be warm. We've got a TV set doing whatever it's doing back there. So you're all on the tube tonight, recording. What an amazing thing the technology is. They get that little camera back there in a little box, and it's beyond me. They used to say before TV there were advantages to being a shut-in. I'm not sure how true that is. Well, my name is Art Thieme, and I sing mostly old-time folk songs. A few more modern ones tossed in. If you like what I do, I'm Art Thieme. If not, I'm Fred Holstein. I'm just in the mood to have some fun tonight and sit back. It's been doing huge festivals and things, and you just can't get intimate. I don't know, there's something about them. And a situation like this is so much nicer, really, in an awful lot of ways. Let's do a children's song. There's a child here. Where is he? I saw him earlier. He's watching TV. He's watching it on TV. Hello, child. I like to eat. Well, that's obvious. That's all there is to the song, really. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. Now that's really all there is to the song, and you're all welcome to join in. One little thing does change in each verse, but I think you'll pick it up. Just go through the vowels. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. Good. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. Oh, I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to oat. I like to oat apples and bananas. I like to oat. I like to oat apples and bananas. I like to oot. I like to oot apples and bananas. I like to oot. I like to oot apples and bananas. So I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat. I like to eat apples and bananas. Well, folk music is homemade music, people having fun with it, and doesn't really belong on a stage. And I sure have to tell you how much I think of the Libertyville School of Folk Music. As long as you're recording this, I'll put that down for posterity. People that really do foster the old traditions and the ideas of people having fun with music, making their own songs. See, small instruments were important in that because, well, in the days when there were 10 or 12 people in every family, somebody would play a comb and tissue paper. Somebody might play nose flute. This is the nose flute, invented by the new crusty nostrils. I don't know if you... So quiet, you can hear a pun drop tonight. You just blow air down in there, and you change the sound by opening your mouth on this side of this little hole here. And the first fella I ever saw play this was Wes Asbury. He was 89 when he passed away in Wisconsin not too long ago. He made these out of turtle shells. He lived right by the Rock River, an amazing gentleman. When the water would come up, he'd put his bed on cement blocks and just get up on the upper bunk, and never did leave his house when water came up. But turtle shells tend to smell pretty foul, so I prefer plastic. You can get these in almost any little music store. And he would call birds with it. Wasn't exactly the Chicago Symphony, but it was fun. Of course, you could get a little tune if you wanted to. But somebody would play this. Somebody might take a bucket and turn it upside down. And of course, you had a family band instantly. Washed up bass, just lovely music. Jew's harp. Of course, these instruments were handy because you could put them in your pocket, take them to work with you. Harmonica. Couldn't do that with a piano. I've got, let's see, 3 sizes of Jew's harp here. Orthodox, Reform, and Conservative. This is...
Tell which one is circumcised.
You can erase that. This is the circumcised one. Kind of a Wisconsin mosquito type sound, 40-pound killer Wisconsin mosquito. You got to be careful of your teeth. That's the main thing. You just rest your top teeth. Well, I'll do it with the big one. That's easier to see. Rest your top teeth on the top bar. You don't bite down. You just rest it on the bar, and your bottom teeth on this bottom bar. And you leave enough room between your teeth for this to vibrate. You get them too close together, you hit your teeth, and dentists love these little things. Supplied to me by the American Dental Association. It's a make-work project. Went to the dentist yesterday just because of this. Didn't have any Novocaine. I wanted to transcend dental medication. If you know what I mean. This is a little quieter. It's more of a rhythm instrument. Not much melody, but it was a good rhythm thing just to keep the beat with. Of course, the medium-sized one I think had the best sound quality. See what we can get out of it. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton-eyed Joe? Well, I come for to see and I come for to sing, come for to show you my diamond ring. If it hadn't have been for old Cotton-eyed Joe, I'd have left here a long time ago. Say, where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton-eyed Joe? As hell, and he pushed his sister in the well. His mother said while drawing water, gee, it's hard to raise a daughter. Well, a man fell into a septic tank. Boy, that tank, it really stank. He couldn't swim inside the tank, but he went through the movements before he sank. It's fun. And that's where the songs came from, really. People just having fun. Fiddle, banjo. Of course, there were a serious side to them, too, to the old songs, the old ballads. We in the Midwest tend to get a little brainwashed into thinking we don't have any folk music of our own. Let me do some that came from Wisconsin. I've just got some good old songs on my mind. Let's see, where's my voice today? A little post-nasal drip, so I think I'll try it a little lower than normal. Then you won't hear me. There's no mic, so we'll go back up here. Train of Thought. This is an old song that is about a gal who has lost her fellow in a lumbering accident. She's trying to find him. She isn't sure what's happened. There were versions of this in Great Britain, and it came into the lumber camps and took on a new feature. When it went west, it became a Goldfield ballad called The California Boy. Oh, a timber raftsman's life is a weary life. Robs young girls their heart's delight, causes them to weep, causes them to mourn for the loss of a true love, never to return. Father, oh father, come build me a boat. Down the Wisconsin I will float, and every raft that passes me by, there will I inquire for my sweet pinery boy. And as she floated on down the stream, she spied 3 rafts tied into a string. She hailed the pilot as they passed by. There she did inquire for her sweet pinery boy. Pilot, oh pilot, come tell me true, is my sweet William among your crew? Answer me quickly, it'll give me great joy, for none do I love better than my sweet pinery boy. Black is the color of my true love's hair. His eyes are blue, his cheeks are fair, his lips are of all the ruby fine. 10,000 times have they met with mine. Oh, fair maiden, he is not here. He's drowned in the dells, I do fear. It was at Lone Rock as he passed by, that is where we left him, your sweet pinery boy. While she wrung her hands, she tore her hair, acted like a maiden in greatest despair. She dashed her boat up against Lone Rock. All you'd have thought this young girl's heart was broke. Dig my grave, both wide and deep, place a marble slab at my head and feet. On each slab carve a snow-white dove, to let the world know that I died for love. Timber raftsman's life is a weary life. It robs young girls their heart's delight, causes them to weep, causes them to mourn for the loss of a true love, never to return. take one more of those. They tend to get a little bit soap opera-like, but I love them. They're probably my favorite songs, the old ballads. Again, it's a similar theme. There were an awful lot of situations where work killed the people doing the work before workmen's compensation came in. New laws. This is one of the few songs that has a bit of supernatural events taking place. Lots of times when these songs came from Europe and settled into the United States, the supernatural aspects were just sort of deleted, and somehow it stayed in this one. Again, it's from the lumber woods of Wisconsin. The heyday of the lumber camps was about 1870. I just learned this coming out here, so we'll all find out together if I know it. It's one nice thing about riding in a car, you can turn off the radio, learn songs. I almost took all the way out here to learn it. It's a true story, by the way. There was a fellow named James Whalen who was killed in a, he was trying to dislodge a bunch of logs that had jammed up the Wisconsin River, and he was killed in that. One story says it was on the Wisconsin, another one says it was up in Michigan that this took place. And there is another ballad that tells the story of how he died. This is the wailing and lamenting of his sweetheart and the problem she was having, coping with his death, and she winds up calling his ghost back, or actually calling him. You're not quite sure what happens in the song. It's a little vague. All lonely I strayed by the banks of the river, watching the sunbeams as evening drew nigh. All alone as she strayed there, I spied a fair damsel, weeping and wailing with many a sigh. She was weeping for one who is now lying lonely. She was mourning for one who no mortal can save, as the dark swirling waters flow sadly around him, as onward they swirl over young Jimmy's grave. "Oh, Jimmy," says she, "won't you come to my arms and give me fond kisses like the ones you once gave? Oh, my dearest, my darling, my lost Jimmy Whalen. Oh, come to me, Jimmy, rise up from your grave." And then there arose from the depths of the river a vision of beauty as bright as the sun, with robes of red crimson encircled around him. And unto this fair maid to speak he begun, "Oh, why have you called me from the realms of glory? All back to this cold world we'll soon have to part. Oh, to have you embrace me once more in your arms, love. Press me, dear Jimmy, press me to your heart." And cold were the arms that encircled around her, and cold was the bosom she pressed to her heart. Oh, it's one fond embrace, love, that I must leave you, one loving kiss, and then we must part. And then this young man, he was seen for to vanish, and into the clouds he was seen for to go, leaving this fair one alone and distracted, weeping and wailing with many a woe, and throwing herself on the banks of the river, and weeping as though her poor heart it would break. My dearest, my darling, my lost Jimmy Whalen, I'll sigh till I die by the side of your grave. All lonely I strayed by the banks of the river, watching the sunbeams as evening grew nigh. All alone as she strayed there, I spied a fair damsel, weeping and wailing with many a sigh. Of course, soap operas have kind of taken the place of those great old songs. And dropped your contact lens. I think there's something to be said for the fact that these great tragedies in these ballads really do rival any great novels, tragic novels. I'm not sure why I gravitate to them. There's a tendency for people to refer to comedy as comic relief, and relief is usually relief from something. So I tend to think that that's probably the basic tragedy of life. So these great tragedies tend to be pretty basic to everyone's life and talk about pretty much universal concepts that everybody has to go through to some extent. So, of course, there are humorous stories. One of the serious ballad forms was the broken token ballad. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that concept. The genre of the broken token was all through British folk music, and a guy and a girl are splitting up for a while. He's going away, usually to sea. It's almost always for 7 years, and they decide to split something as a token of their love between them. Usually a ring. They'll split a ring in half. He'll take his half, she'll take hers, and he goes away. He changes, he grows a beard while he's gone or something. Comes back 7 years later, she's waited for him, and he decides to test her fidelity. Walks in, says, "Will you marry me?" And she says, "I can't, I'm waiting for this guy." She doesn't recognize him. And he realizes she really has waited, and he brings out his half of the token, she brings out her half, they match him up, and they get married and live happily ever after. Completely unrealistic song. But interestingly enough, there were hundreds of this variation of the broken token. And in recent years, there's been a certain amount of parodies. One a friend of mine wrote where they split a brick. They each wear this half a brick around their neck. You know. He comes back and he's just hunched over, and she doesn't recognize it being Quasimodo. It lends itself well to something extremely humorous. I'm not sure why, but I thought we had room for one more parody. So I tossed one together, in which the gal, Nancy, runs a shoe repair shop. And Willie, her boyfriend, is going off to sea for 7 years, and he has to get his boots fixed. I can remember it. Songs I never can remember things I write. Lovely Nancy ran a shoe repair shop. Her lovin' Willie brought her his boots, for to have the soles with leather bound up and have the heels elevate his foot. I have 2 pair of leather sea boots, 1 pair it is plumb wore through. I wish to leave this pair for soles and polish. I'll wear the others and think of you. Oh yes, fair maid, I'm going sailing for 7 years upon the sea. What is there for us to split between us? A symbol of our love to keep. Oh, Willie dear, here's your claim ticket. It's number 8049. I'll keep mine and you can cherish your half as a love token to last through time. Well, he took his ticket, he went a-sailing. He sailed the seas for 7 years, and at last his boots with holes were riddled, and he figured it was time to return to her. So on one fair October morning, he walked into the old shoe place. His coat hid ticket 8049. His love stared blankly at his bearded face. Oh, fair maid, pray be my bride. No old man that cannot be. I have a young love out upon the ocean. When his boots wear out, he'll return to me. Now he threw open his old worn raincoat and flashed the ticket 8049. Saying, Nancy dear, it's me, I'm your true lover. Return for my boots and to make you mine. Oh, Willie dear, you have returned. We'll be married by the old church door. But the boots you left for soles and heels and polish, they won't be ready till Friday at 4. Now this young couple were childhood sweethearts. She was a child and he was a hood. They lived a life of blissful, pure devotion. Their song is ended and I think that's good. Well, I feel strange playing banjo with Stu Halliday here tonight. One of the more tasteful, amazing banjo players I know. Someone was asking why there happens to be a chicken in my banjo. Some people stuff anything they can in the banjo to quiet it down. I like a quiet banjo. People just put sponges in there. And I figure if I gotta have something in my banjo, it might as well be interesting. So there it is. Or some people are very formal and wear a jacket on stage. I have a cape on. A bird in the banjo is worth 2 of George Bush. Something like that. Actually, they used to use chickens to flush out spies in the American Revolution. They'd yell, "Chicken cacciatore," and they'd go do it. That'll be there, folks. Foul joke. Another I'm in the mood for ballads tonight. Story songs. I'm playing in the sun a lot. And this song is about the sun, come to think of it. S-O-N. Bit of a biblical story in it. Although I understand it's not really in the Bible, this story does appear in the Apocrypha. A little picture from Christ's younger life. And I always like this ballad, which goes back quite a far way into Great Britain, but this is an American variation of it. I like it so much because it shows I think a human side to Jesus. Very human. Some kids won't play ball with him as a child. He gets very upset. Very upset. For which he is soundly spanked by his mother with a willow switch. It's called The Bitter Withy. Fell out on a holy, holy day. The drops of rain did fall. Our Savior asked leave of his mother Mary, if he could go and play at ball. Oh, to play at ball, oh, to play at ball. It's time you were going or we're gone. Let me hear no complaint of you at night when you do come home. Now it's up the hills and it's down the hills, and There he met the three jolly Jordanes. There he asked the three jolly Jordanes if they would like to play at ball. Oh, we are lords and ladies' sons, born in bower and in hall, and you are nothing but a poor Jew's child, born in an oxen stall. Well, if you are lords and ladies' sons, born in bower and in hall, I will let you know at the very last that I am above you all. And he made him a bridge of the beams of the sun, and over the river so fast ran he, and after him followed the three jolly Jordanes, and drowned it they were all three. And it's up the hills, and it's down the hills, the mothers of them did hoop and call, Mary, Mary, mild, call home your child, for ours are drowned in all. And Mary, Mary, mild, she called home her child, she placed our Savior across her knee, with a heavy twig of the bitter withy, she gave to him slashes 3. And he says to his mother, oh the withy, the withy that causes me to smart, the withy shall be the very first tree for to perish at the heart. Just reading Hoagy Carmichael's autobiography recently. He's one of my favorite songwriters. My apologies to those of you who think I shouldn't do anything that isn't a folk song, but I love this song. Hoagy Carmichael. They named a sandwich after him. The Carmichael sandwich. I bet you wishing the fish don't bite on your line. Lazy bone, sleeping all the day, never gonna make a dime that way. Never make a dime that way. Oh, you never heard a word that I say. What does the deep sea say? Tell me, what does the deep sea say? It moans and it groans, it slashes and it moans, rolls on its weary way. Oh, the steamboat, she's coming round the bend. Oh, the big boat, she's coming round the bend. And she ain't doing nothing but killing off good men. The steamboat, she's coming round the bend. Well, every time I hear the big boat blow, oh, big boat blow. My mind it gets to rambling, my feet are bound to go. Every time I hear the big boat blow. Tell me what does the deep sea say? Tell me what does the deep sea say? It moans and it groans, it slashes and it foams, rolls on its weary way. Oh, Vicksburg is a mighty hilly town. Oh, Vicksburg is a mighty hilly town. And the Yankees on the river, they sure did blow it down. Vicksburg is a mighty hilly town. Well, firemen keep her rolling on for me. Gotta make it down to Memphis, Tennessee. Cause my back is getting tired, my shoulders getting sore. Firemen keep her rolling on for me. Tell me what does the deep sea say? Tell me what does the deep sea say? It moans and it groans, it slashes and it foams, rolls on its weary way. Here's a little tune I learned from Stu many years ago. We've been playing for, well, almost 20 years, each of us, at a little coffee house called the No Exit in Chicago. After 10 years, I finally went back and listened to my tape of Stu playing that. And I don't do it anything like you anymore. I don't know what happened. Gotta sit down and put in all those fancy parts one of these days. Scotland the Brave. I thought that was the Scottish national anthem, but a Scotsman took exception to that.
It's an Irish, there's an Irish version of it.
Is there an Irish version?
What is the name?
Scotland the Brave. Or is...
Yes. There is an
I know
Irish.
An Irish version of that. That'd be interesting. I happen to have it on one of my albums, by the way, which I just happen to have a box of. So if anybody wants any, the old one is called Outright Bold-Faced Lies, which I tell a lot of. And the new album is called Songs of the Heartland. All Midwestern songs, pretty much. Well, before I play the saw, I'm going to do another one from Wisconsin. Been thinking a lot about some of the great old songs that came out of those lumber woods. Tall tales, stories. My uncle was a great tall tale teller, and sat in on a contest he was in once. And each old man told their best lie. They got to him, he said, "Fellas, I shouldn't even be here. I ain't never told a lie in my life." But he won the prize. Biggest one told that. one of the creation myths, you might say, from an Irish point of view. Got me thinking of Irish people. This comes from a man named George Sullivan from North Freedom, Wisconsin. Well, first they made the earth, then they made the sky, and then they made the little clouds, hung them there to dry. Then they made the moon above, they made the sun to shine, and then they made the little stars from little baby's eyes. Walkie in the parlor, boys, walkie in, I say. Walkie in the parlor, boys, hear the banjo play. Walkie in the parlor, boys, hear the banjo ring, and watch my honey's fingers as she picks upon the string. Then they made the possum, and next they made the quail, and then they made the old raccoon with a ring around his tail. Next they made Mr. Elephant, so big and large and stout, but you know that he was not satisfied until he got his snout. Walkie in the parlor, boys, walkie in, I say. Walkie in the parlor, boys, and hear the banjo play. Walkie in the parlor, boys, hear the banjo ring, and watch my honey's fingers as she picks upon the string. And they made old Adam, and they laid him on the ground, and they gave him a dose of laudanum just to make him sleep so sound. Then they took a couple of ribs off from old Adam's side, and they made him a nice young Irish girl for to be his loving bride. Walkie in the parlor, boys, walkie in, I say. Walkie in the parlor, boys, hear the banjo play. Walkie in the parlor, boys, hear the banjo ring, and watch my honey's fingers as she picks upon the string. Of course, anywhere you had timber, you had saws, tools to work the timber. Cut it down to make lumber out of it, put up houses. Clarence Massail was a gentleman that I met in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, who for 60 years of his life made and played musical saws. I don't know exactly what he did to them, but he would get his blades from a regular saw company, good English steel. They're 2 inches longer than your normal saw. It's 28 inches long, and a normal saw is about 26 inches. Any saw is musical. You can probably get some sound out of almost any saw under the sun, but Clarence's were the best I'd ever seen, and his big secret was he wouldn't tell anybody which company he got the blades from. So if you want to try saw at home, you can probably get a sound out of the one you have around your house, except if it's Teflon coated or too stiff. But I had a $2.50 Woolworth saw that I could get a lot of sound out of. But this sure is the Martin of the saw world, you might say. Clarence passed away several years ago at the age of 84, and I'm really glad I got to meet him. He was one of my professors, one of the people that taught me the songs and the instruments that I care so much about. Well, let's see, to get a sound first, any sound, First you have to bend the blade so it'll be set up to make a noise. Put your hand behind it and your thumb in front. And you pull with these fingers, tips, push with the thumb, so you bend the tip into a slight little S curve. Get that tip into a slight S shape. Then if you tap it with something, you should be able to get a sound out of it. Just sort of leaps out of there. If you let go, you're going to lose the sound. You have to have that S in there. You push down, the note rises. And you come back and it goes down. And that's not how you use the bow. You don't take the bow and hit the saw with it. Some people play with a little hammer, and bow users tend to look down on hammer users. There's a hierarchy to everything, I suspect. This is a regular old stick is what it is, and it's got a piece of nylon clothesline on it with some violin rosin on the clothesline. Nylon works much better than anything else I've seen. A regular violin bow works real well, but that's horsehair. Modern violin bows sometimes use nylon herring also. It has nothing to do with fish. There's no herring on the bow. It's just nylon hairs are on the bow. This is, as I said, nylon clothesline as a bow constrictor, you might say. And you always rub it on the straight side of the saw. Humidity tonight. A little tremolo with your hand. Some people do that with their leg, but I've always done it with my hand. You always bow it on the straight side. Over here you cut the string off. You don't want to... Love to hide in the bushes at Halloween. Watch the little darlings scatter. It's for the 4th of July. The humidity is bothering this tonight. Let's see what we can get a real tune out of this somehow. Somebody wanted an Irish song, but you need a jigsaw for that, so I can't do it. War saw for Polish songs. That works really well. Psychiatrists like coping saws. Hacksaws for cab drivers. Voyeurs like keyhole saws. It's endless. The list is endless. Let's see, where was I? Again, it's fun. You can see where that has potential in a band. By itself, it's a little bit like playing solo tuba. Of course, you could play a bandsaw, I guess. Sound like a whole... I think it has real potential in a country music style band. None of my friends who have country bands seem interested in having me sit in. I don't understand why, but it's got those slides and slurs that you can get like with a steel guitar, and I think there is some potential there. Well, this has just been lovely. I'm losing all track of time.
It's 20.
Okay, you're right. Way down upon the Wabash, such a land was never known. Adam had crossed over it, the soil he'd surely owned. He'd say it was the garden that he'd lived in as a boy, and he'd straightway pronounce it Eden in the state of Illinois. So move your family westward, bring all your girls and boys, and rise to wealth and honor in the state of Illinois. Advertising. It was pretty successful, got a lot of people to move to this part of the country. They say Chicago was an Indian word, meant place by the water that smelled like an onion. A place of wild onions. Chicago. Got a real love-hate relationship with Chicago. Sure is a pleasure to be out here in Libertyville, the home of wild olds. A beautiful place in the country. Well, it's kind of sad living in Chicago. It's gotten so I don't trust air I can't see anymore. Waking up in the morning, listening to the birds caw. Love it. And way upon the northward, upon the borderline, a great commercial city, Chicago, you will find. Her men are all like Abelard, her women are like Heloise. All honest, virtuous people, cause they come from Illinois. So move your family westward, bring all your girls and boys, and rise to wealth and honor in the state of Illinois. Carl Sandburg printed this song in the American Song Bag about 1926. I seem to remember my old uncle singing it one time, or a version of it anyhow. He lived in central Illinois. We've always heard tell that he got here in the covered wagon, coming from New England somehow. Amazing man. At the age of 12, he made $1 million going door to door selling Cheerios as donut seeds. Well, that's what he used to say, anyhow. According to him, that was the worst winter that ever was. All the snakes froze. Froze solid, and all the farmers used snakes for fence posts. They just pound them into the ground with a hammer. Come spring, all the snakes thawed out, and all the fences just crawled away. It was an amazing thing to see. All the train whistles froze solid, and in the spring there was just a symphony of thawing train whistles. Used to hear a lot of stories like that, tall tales. Uncle was the world's greatest raccoon hunter. Never did use a gun. Said if he couldn't do it with his brains, he didn't deserve to catch him. And he did take his axe over his shoulder most of the time to clear brush away. I'll never forget one real cold January morning, must have been 10 below zero. We found fresh raccoon tracks in the snow. We followed them off across a frozen cornfield. They seemed to lead up right to a great big tree sitting by the frozen lake shore. A lot of geese out on the ice. You could see them sitting out there just walking and squawking around. And we just followed the tracks across the cornfield right up to the base of this tree. And as we watched this tree, the tree seemed to swell up and it would shrink back down, then get bigger again, and then shrink back down. And we walked right up to the base of the tree, looked up in the branches, and must have been 3,000 raccoons up there, just chock full of them. It was one of those famous raccoon trees they used to talk about in central Illinois. They just gravitate to it naturally. Well, Uncle was rather amazed, but he walked up to the base of the tree, took his axe off his shoulder, and he started chopping the tree. And he chopped for a good 20 minutes, and pretty soon the whole tree and all those raccoons just sort of teetered and slowly fell over right onto the ice, onto the lake shore there. And all the geese out on the ice started flapping their wings, and that's when I realized that It must have been a quick freeze the night before, because most of those geese were caught in the ice. They had their feet caught in the ice and they were flapping away and they couldn't go anywhere. They were stuck. Well, Uncle ran out onto the ice, took his axe again and started chopping the ice all the way around the raccoons and the geese and the tree. Got a whole big piece of ice cut out, and you know, the flapping of all those geese's wings made the whole thing just sort of rise up in the air. Levitate, big frozen flying carpet there about 5 feet off the surface of the lake, and raccoons looking over the edge and the geese flapping away, and me and him, we jumped on at the last minute. We jumped up there and you could lean one way and make it go to the left, and lean the other way and make it go to the right. If you step back, you dip up over the trees. We headed north, went up towards the Wisconsin Dells, and you could look down and see the river just snaking through there. It was beautiful. We watched the Tommy Bartlett water ski show. Got a little low and some moron put a bumper sticker on it. That got me kind of upset, but flew around the better part of that day. Come dinner time, we were getting hungry and the sun was setting, so we headed back down towards the farm. Uncle had this great big chicken yard, huge chicken wire fence around it, and his idea was to get the whole thing to come down inside the fence. Capture all those raccoons and geese, have fresh ice for refrigeration. And I wasn't sure how he was going to do it. He got us to hover there, and, well, he ran up to the front goose and just took it by the neck and wrung its neck. Of course, it kind of slowed down flapping, you might say. And we tilted a little, and he ran over here, grabbed another goose, wrung its neck, and tilted that way, and then he ran back here and grabbed another. We powered down, came in for the smoothest landing you ever saw. Smoother than the space shuttle. It was amazing. Yeah. Captured all those raccoons. We had raccoon stew that night, goose pizza the next night. We're eating goose till the cows came home. And ice, a lot of ice for the drinks and things. 2 weeks later, came a knock at the door. Opened the door, it was Davy Crockett himself. Very upset. Seems my uncle had captured every raccoon in that part of the country, and there was no place for him to get those hats he used to wear with the tails hanging down, you know. Ever after that, he came to my uncle once a week for a fresh hat. True story. I've got the hat to prove it at home if you want proof, so. Where was I? Well, hitch my horse up to my hack, buckle my banjo to my back. The buckle broke and the banjo flew. The devil got the buckle and the banjo too. Uncle Eph's got the coon and gone on, gone on, he's gone on. Uncle Eph's got the coon, gone on, and he's left us looking up the tree. Oh, when Ephraim told this world goodbye, went to his heavenly home on high, told St. Peter for to make him room. Here comes Eph's just a fetching of the coon. Uncle Eph's got the coon and gone on, gone on, he's gone on. Uncle Eph's got the coon and gone on, he's left us a look up a tree. Well, wake up, sister, don't you sleep too late. Keep your eyes on the Golden Gate. Get out there and dance by the light of the moon. Yes, here comes Eve, just a fetching of the coon. Uncle Eph's got the coon and gone on, gone on, he's gone on. Uncle Eph's got the coon and gone on, he's left us a looking up the tree. Move the family westward, bring all your girls and boys, and rise to wealth and honor in the state of Illinois. Well, she's bounded by the Wabash, Mississippi, and the lakes. There's milk sick in her rolling hills, in her swamps there's snakes. But these are slight diversions that take not from the joys of living in that garden spot in the state of Illinois. So move your family westward, bring all your girls and boys, and rise to wealth and honor in the state of Illinois. Yes, move your family westward, bring all your girls and boys, and cross the Shawnee Ferry to the state of Illinois. Let me do you one more. When I think about the fact that I chose to learn folk songs, chose to do this for a living, it's kind of mind-boggling when you think of my background, having grown up in the city. I represent the Chicago high-rise tradition of traditional music, I guess. I actually grew up in a high-rise in the city. Somewhere along the line, a whole bunch of us decided we wanted to learn this old rural music. And we just got tired of listening to Rock Around the Clock and Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis back in the 50s. There was something called a folk music revival that started back then. Actually in the 40s and 50s and on into the 60s. There have been high points and low points in that revival ever since. Usually I prefer the low points. They seem to be the most natural. The high points are when the mass culture finds out about folk music and they put it on TV, hootenanny TV show and things like that. And they tend to take it and try to milk every available dollar out of it when they get their hands on it. So it's little situations like this that are really an awful lot of fun for me to play at. The most fun are certain festivals, the smaller festivals where we get together and just sing and play. And it's just rather amazing that someone that came out of, if I had chosen to learn the songs that my family sang, I'd be a mute because they literally didn't sing. There's just no music in my family. So I had to search it out. The kids from the cities that learned these old folk songs had to run around in the Appalachians and learn to play banjo from the old timers. We had to go and talk to the people that whose roots went back into those days, and wound up with somebody like me and Mike Seeger and a few other people who still sing the old songs mostly out of choice rather than because it's a part of their tradition, the way they grew up. It's a bit of future shock, you might say. Any folk revival, when people get an interest in the way things were in the past to some extent, is a reaction to the major culture to some extent. So you've got a large degree of future shock embodied in this, hopefully turned into something artistic. You have to watch out you don't live in the past too much, though. You know how many folk singers it takes to screw in a light bulb? 1 to screw it in and 6 to reminisce about how good the old bulb was. There's a sad amount of truth in that. Well, after I just talked about the old songs, I'm going to do a new one for you. A friend of mine named Bob Franke out in Massachusetts wrote this. And it talks about those things I was just saying pretty much. It's so easy to dream of the days gone by. It's so hard to think of the times to come. And the grace to accept every moment as a gift is a gift that is given to some. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. There are sorrows enough for the whole world's end. There are no guarantees but the grave. And the lives that we lead and the times that we spend are treasures too precious to say. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. Let's see. Want to be profound or silly? You can't get much more profound than that last song, I think. So simple, and yet let your dreams bind your work to your play. Good prescription. This isn't even my song list. Half of these are Stewart songs. Let's see, what part of the country haven't we been to? Been up north, Midwest a lot today. Stewart sang some songs from the South. We do any cowboy songs?
No.
Oh, you did Goodnight Loving Trail. That's from a man named Utah Phillips, the Goodnight Loving Trail. Utah Phillips, Bruce Phillips is his real name. He's just invented an organization for all people who don't know. You want to join a whole lot of different organizations sometimes, organizations which are specialized to fight one little thing that's going on in our society or whatever. Different various organizations. There's so many things that come down the pike nowadays that you just don't know what to join. And so he figured that we needed one organization that you could join. It would take care of all these things, all the causes you want to work for and everything. It's called YAWN, Y-A-W-N. It stands for Youth Against Whatever Is Next. Just join the one thing and you're ready for whatever comes down. It's hard to get a handle on what's going on, you know. There's so many different things to... I heard on TV the other day, they said leisure suits cause cancer now. They're going to ban leisure. They took little 2-inch leisure suits and put them on mice. You know, the mice got cancer, so now they're going to ban leisure suits. Hard to... Everything causes cancer. Air. It truly is hard to get a handle on these days we're living in. Years ago, I took the first dollar I ever made, put it in a 10-cent frame. Now the frame's worth $1 and the dollar's worth $0.10. And I don't know how to relate to that, friend. Inflation, depression, recession, whatever. They don't call it a depression anymore. We'll leave that to the psychiatrists. Came through Harrisburg, PA the other day. Looked at I stopped in a fast food restaurant. Nuclear fish and chips. Got atomic egg. Went in there and played the jukebox. Number 1 on the jukebox was Glowworm. You Light Up My Life was number 2. The place was run by a monastery, so I walked up to the guy behind the counter and I said, "Are you the fish fryer?" He said, "No, I'm the chipmunk." I still haven't thought of a song to sing. Well, it is hard to remain an optimist. Sometimes a while back ran a contest to see if they could find a child, the most optimistic child in the city of Chicago. And they ran another contest to see if they could find the most pessimistic.